Okay, tell me when it's live. All right, we're here. Hey there, everybody. We are live. We had a slight hiccup here. It was very funny. We had an accidental pushing of the "we're going live" button. So it was like, it's time to start. Okay, we just went live. We touched it. Okay, I am very happy to be doing this again. And I've got some really good help in the studio. So we're going to get a quick hello from Brian. He doesn't go on camera. He never goes on camera, but he can say something because we can hear him.
Hello.
Yeah, he's there. And so we also have my wife, Christy, my beautiful, helpful wife. That is the reason Mural Joe even exists. I can assure you that. So I'm going to flip over, give you a real quick look at her pretty eyes so that we can say hi to her right here.
Hi.
There she is. Okay. And you can see why I'm such a happy person right there. I have that kind of help. And so she is looking at the chat today to make sure that we pay good attention to everything that you're all saying out there. I did not rehearse at all for this. I just thought, hey, we haven't done live in forever. I got real inspired by all of our workshoppers that were just here only weeks ago. And I thought, man, I want to thank you all that were here for encouraging me and letting me know that the live shows are meaningful. So it was time to get going again. We're going to do a live show. I'm going to paint, and we're going to do this regularly. We're going to see about doing it on Mondays, but I'm not going to commit without being sure that we can do that. So what we're going to do today is we're going to paint, I think, I didn't think about what we were going to paint, but I saw this really pretty picture in a rental that we stayed in for the weekend down in Phoenix. Arizona is full of beautiful fall colors later than other places because of the warmth. And so I was looking at this really orange sunset colored painting, and I thought, wow, how interesting. It's this full, beautiful picture, but there's no blue. So I thought, how fun would it be to try that out? I'm going to use primary colors that are red, and I'm gonna flip down so you can see my colors real quick. I've got the my little storage containers that I like to use, and I'm just gonna get these ready real quick. I've got red. I'm just gonna work straight from primaries because I love doing that. It's like creative mode. When I pre-mix the colors, it's because I have a plan, but when I go to the primaries, it's because I want to be creative. I want to just build something as I think of it. So I've got, there's kind of orange. This is leftover. This is somebody's paint from the workshop that we were just doing. And I thought, hey, I'm going to use up those paints. And so now I'm going to do black and white. So my blue is going to be black, and you'll see what I mean as I progress. I like to use these containers for my paint. This was a fun thing to have. It works really well, if you have a painting event and you need rapid access to paint. These containers work really well. It's not mayo. This is not mayo. So there's my black and white, and I can just refill those very quickly whenever I need to re-up my colors. I'm going to put some bright orange in here too. I talk about this a lot. I consider all colors that I can't make to be a primary color. And so I can't make any of these colors. Anything I mix will not be as intense as these, therefore they're all primary colors. So I'm going to start by maybe just putting together a horizon, sky, mountain scene, something that is pretty, a place that I'd like to be. So maybe I'll start with the bigger brush. Let's start with this. I noticed that these brushes, I get the less expensive brushes from art stores, and the bristles are fine. I talk about this a lot. The bristles are a lot smaller, and those of you who paint regularly, I'm sure, are very familiar with these kind of brushes. But I came from contracting where I was using these kind of brushes all the time. I was using these on walls, and so the question became, why can't I just use those on my small paintings? Well, the larger bristles have a more coarse texture and the paint does not flow. If you're doing, like a real delicate technique where you need smooth edges and they need to flow out wet paint on a dry canvas, these big brushes won't do that very well. You have to be working with large amounts for it to work well. So I switch back and forth. I switch from my big contractor brush to my artist brush, and I just use them as needed. It's not very often that I buy an expensive brush because I have yet to find just a whole lot more value out of those. So what I'm doing is just going black, white, and I'm just making a sky. I'm pretending that this is blue and white and not black and white. I'm just using this as my primary. I said as my primary, I mean as my blue. So I'm just putting this together. Wherever I have my darker grayer color, then maybe that's where there's more sky. Wherever I have more of the white, maybe that's where I'm imagining a cloud. So I'm just, this is kind of like the underpaintings that I hear people talk about a lot that I never really do. It's not very often that I do an underpainting, but if you do an underpainting just with two tones like this, it can be a really helpful thing to understand where you're going with the rest of the picture. So here's some clouds. This will be fun. I'll put these in here. And maybe I'll add just a touch now of orange. I want to have some color in my light spots and at the horizon. So let's go orange and white. So when I dip my brush, this my go-to, this is my workflow. What I do over and over is I go to my paints, I dip just the corner in the paint, and this is almost every time. It's not very often that I go for a full dip. It's usually just a corner. And then I come up and distribute it on the, I apply it, I get it on the canvas, and then after it's applied, you can see this is a heavy section. My next step then, that's funny, look, I just said I usually only dip the corner, then I went junk and got a big full brush of white. This is what I consider a big full brush of white because I try not to make a mess is what I'm trying to say. The reason I'm doing that is because I've got a lot of sky to cover here, and so I just went right for that white. I guess it just depends on how much I need. Here I am already eating my words. I just thought some of you might enjoy that out there, seeing how much I don't have it together. So I'm adding color to the sky now, and I think something that's really fun about working with gray is that it takes on the opposite color of whatever it's against. So the more I surround this picture with blue or with oranges, so I'm going to grab a little bit of yellow. The more I put these colors in here, making this orange, the more the gray will represent what would be blue. And so I'm just going to put some color in the sky and make sure that where I have this color, I also have lightness. I don't want to have it be too dark. Okay, we're coming up here, putting some of that color in there as well. And I'm just going to do some really soft kind of Bob Ross clouds. We'll just put some white in there and a little bit of orange, maybe even less than that. That might have been too much. So we'll go like this.
Joe, a couple of people asked about blue. So why don't you have any blue?
Because, yeah, okay, great. Yeah, I'm glad there's asking going on. Yeah. I thought it would be a very fun experiment and demonstration of how gray takes on the job, it does the job of blue. And sometimes a perceived blue is not an actual blue paint. So my goal is to just use gray anywhere there would be blue and see if I can get a very color graded image that has that sunset light in it and no blue, just using gray in order to be sure, because the blue is a beautiful color, but the more blue I add, then the less my image has that overall like enveloped with orange light look. So it's an experiment to see if I can just use gray in order to lock in my lock in my desaturated blues to make sure I don't go too far with blue and make the whole picture seem kind of orange. Okay, I'm just messing around with clouds. I'm going to shift the brighter colors a little more yellow. So I just put a bit of yellow on that. And we'll put this up. Maybe it'll just go way up off the picture. There we go. I think less is more with a picture like this. I don't need anything too extreme. Maybe some smaller clouds down by the horizon here. We'll put black and white because sometimes I like to put some darker bluish clouds down there. Now where black meets yellow, that's going to be like my green. That's going to be the green. The only green I'll have in this picture, since I'm not using blue or green, is going to be black and yellow. I don't want green in my sky, so what I'll do is put a bit of red in there. So my low clouds, because I had a bit of yellow in there, I'm just going to get rid of this extra red and just put a tiny bit of red in there just so that I can get that more purpley color, meaning not green. You know, you can't have something be both purple and green. It goes to gray as the two colors mix.
So Mavis asks, sorry, I lost her thing. Oh, are you saying it's actually going to look blue next to the other colors?
Well, this is the experiment. We'll see. Now I know Mavis, and she's gonna bust me if I say something that doesn't pan out here. So my hope is yes, that will be the case. I want this to have the appearance of a blue sky at this, you know, in this sunset light. And so I'm just putting these bright colors in here, wanting that to be the end result. But we'll see if it can actually be done. Got a little cloud there. Maybe we'll put another one here. And maybe I'll just leave this be for a little bit while I make a mountain. So in here, let's put a mountain going. Well, we got some nice clouds there, maybe like right in there. So let's go orange, black, white. I just want a distant atmosphere look. So I'm just going to go gray. Maybe this mountain has some of the evening shadow of the sky on it. So that would be, you know, maybe just a little bit on the purple side. So my red and black, you know, I'm using these two colors, my red and my black here to get the purple color on this mountain. So red, black, and white, just from, you know, experience, they will create a somewhat purple tone rather than just, I don't know, maybe that is just the look of a dark red or a dark grayish red, but to me it looks kind of purple. So I often use that color in order to make real earthy tones, you know, rather than going straight to a purple. I'll just put red mixed in with a gray. This is looking very volcanic, this picture. Bigger? You think bigger? I think I'd like to see a bigger mountain. I'm going to put more black, more white, and bring this out a little bit more. Let's go this way a bit more. Even though I just painted those pretty little clouds in there. Just put those in there. Might be cool to just put one on top. Let's go like this. We'll put kind of a misty cloud up here on top of that mountain. And then we'll put some light on it too. We'll go like this. We'll put white and go up here. And then we'll put a little bit of orange in that as well. Okay. Like this. So my thought right now is, oh yeah, I kind of got distracted by the picture, and I'm thinking how cool it would be if a cloud was just right up here on top of the mountain catching some light. So I just put white on there, and as it gets brighter, it's going to get oranger, and as it gets brighter still, it might get a little bit more yellowish. So we'll see. I made this sky very light, didn't I? It's all very light. So it's hard to get brilliant colors when you go super light on your picture. Get some more white in there. So sometimes if I need very vivid colors, then I'll ease up on the lightness. I'll take the brightness of the whole picture down so I can get more concentrated pigments. I think I'd like to see a bit more of a wispy look on these clouds too. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to grab black and start redoing some of my sky. Black and white. We're going to go just a touch darker this time. I'll go in here. There we go. See if I get that darker color in there. Let's get more black and white. Then I'll get more contrast. And I'll have my brighter colored clouds. Like this. There we go. There. Now I'm going to go like this. Redo my colors a little with this cloud. Like so. Here we go. Put a bright cloud kind of drifting across the top of this. Right across the top of that mountain. Then let's put a little bit of shadow on there. Let's go black. And we might go a little bit of red as well in there. So let's put black and red like this. I'm experimenting with, sometimes I gradually get to that place that I'm imagining just by trying the different things that I've seen work, that I know work from experience, but it's not always getting straight there. I do have to use a process. And so, it's just knowing what knobs to turn. It's not getting the settings exactly right from the beginning. It's just knowing how to turn the dials in order to gradually arrive where I'm trying to go. So I want to see a little bit more of a glow on the cloud, so I have to darken my sky a little bit. Let's put a little bit more of that sky, that orange color in the clouds up here. One of these days I'm going to learn how to paint some other kinds of clouds. I think I've locked in this particular kind of puffy little clouds. I need to branch out, learn to paint some funner stuff here. Maybe I'll try one now. Let's go like this. Red, black and white. And we're going to get another cloud in front of this one. And then we're just going to go like this with the orange, get some white, and just kind of be messy with this. There we go. Now this one kind of comes out in front of the other one. Let me get a little bit of that shadow right there. Get more shadow here. Here we are. There, it's kind of at an angle now. Now I don't feel so down on myself for always putting those clouds right there, the puffing up flat bottom coming up like they always do. And let's put this orange and yellow and get a nice bright face on this. Oh, there we go. That did it for me right there. I'm feeling much happier about this sky scene now because I have that dark color in the foreground. Like that. I'll put a little bit right here where there's a cloud behind this front cloud, and you see just a little bit of the top of it right there. Okay, that's a good color. I'm going to borrow that right here. Get a little bit on that cloud. I'm going to start piecing together this mountain. So I'm thinking we want to see some distant highlights on this. So I don't want to go intense orange. So I think that here I'm going to mix a color that's maybe I'm going to use a color that is, I'm just going to mix it down here kind of off target. So I'll go black. Black and orange make a great brown. And then I'll just lighten it with white. And then we'll see if We'll see if that's brown enough. Okay, so I lighten that with white. Now I just need it barely lighter than my shadow colors. So you're working with real limited contrast. So when I get in here, I'm just gonna, I don't even know where rocks might be, but I know that if I have my colors balanced well, then it'll just give the look. I'm just using a light touch on my brush, letting it roll around, make shapes. That's one thing I really like about these square tip brushes with those corners on them, is that they can get all kinds of geometric shapes like this. Yeah, there we go. I like the look of that. There we go. We'll make the light. I'm seeing now that the light feels like it's coming a little bit more from this left side. I didn't really have it decided. That's a good way to end up with results you don't like if you don't know those things. But I think I got away with it. I'm going to go here, a little bit lighter. This is going to be a real distant mountain because of how white I made all of these colors. This will be real distant. So everything might look just a little on the boring side until I get going with some other closer foreground objects. I want to take this cloud and really bump up the contrast of it on this right side. I'm going to darken that with some red and black and put that in there. Darker shadow on this cloud. There we go. Because I've now decided that there is the light coming from the left side. So I'm going to put more shadow on here now. So I just went from the red to the yellow, just making it get more of a golden color as it goes to the left. There we go. Now the light's coming this way in my painting. Go like that. And then what we'll do is maybe put some, maybe it needs like some closer formations in here. Let's do, actually I think what let me think about this. I kind of like the idea of going red, a little more of the red and black look on the shadows. I really like the look of that purple. So here's some black in there. I'm going to put a little white, black. Let's get this going.
Is mixing paint on the canvas something you had to learn to do? Because a couple people are commenting on that. They're saying it's drying too fast if they try it.
Yeah, I'm not going to lie. It is a gradually acquired skill that you definitely can acquire. I want to encourage you, if you're trying this, to start big, start simple, and work your way to more detailed things, because you are battling the dry time. That's not easy. And working heavy is, I keep the paint heavy enough the whole time I'm doing it. And I even run into moments where it dries too quick on me and I lose my blending. And so you just keep going and going and upping the difficulty. It's something that I just gradually acquired out of necessity. When I first started painting, it just seemed like the most practical method because I was so lost about pre-mixing colors. I just needed to see what I was doing. And so needing to see it and evaluate it was my reason. And I experienced a whole lot of frustration with it drying fast and then trying to figure out how to, remedy that. And I think earlier on I was interested in additives that would slow down the dry time. But then as I got more familiar with the process, I just decided, you know what, I got better at pre-mixing colors. So then I switched to the strategy of just using it to build a picture, but not necessarily as the method for my most refined look, my most finished results that I might do for clients. Okay, now I'm going to get more of my highlight color, so that will be orange and white. What do we use on this? Probably just orange and white. I'll get a little bit more of that white. There we go, that's a pretty color. And, you know, I think the one thing I'm missing here is that I have to leave room for bright trees. I want to put some bright trees, so I better add my gray. I need to save my completely saturated colors for my foreground with those bright colors, and I'm not going to have that available if I fill my mountain rocks with it. So, wait, there, we got some formations that are happening here. I'm just dabbing it, getting some softer areas, some harder edges. Here we go. And then, what will I do next? Maybe let's put another one. Let's put another peak in here somehow. Like, where could it be? It seems like there could be one maybe a little bit closer here. I'm thinking with my brush. Here, let's go to the black. Let's go to the black and put a slope right here. We'll put black, and then I'm just going to blast this with some red and orange to get some evening rocks. So we're going to do red and orange in here. And I'm just putting it all over. I'm not thinking too hard about this, but wherever the color ends up being more concentrated, that's where I'm going to come with my highlights in a minute. And go like this. I'm making this rocky slope. You know, we've got a distant mountain. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a little bit of white because these colors are so similar. I can just use those to recreate this. I want to put this peak coming a little further over like this. Just a little more drama on here. Make the size a bit bigger. Like this. Like that. And then maybe just a touch of white. Just a touch so that it gets lighter as it goes up into that cloud. And we'll need some color in there. We don't want it looking like the wrong. You know, it's got to stay the color of the cloud. So let's grab some of this red and orange that we've already got in there. Bring that down. Some right there. I've got to lighten it now. I need that to blend. There we go. Ooh, that's kind of fun. I like the look of that. Mountain goes right up into that. As the colors are getting darker, the picture is getting more interesting. Do you notice that? I started so light and I keep raising the contrast, darkening the colors. And I think the picture ends up looking better for it. Okay, we're going to put some of that in there, get some white. This is my right side of the cloud. Yellow, maybe a little bit of yellow. Let's put just a touch in there. Yellow and white. Yellow is something that I found is really easy to overuse. It goes, you know, anytime it hits a dark color, it wants to turn kind of green. So I'm always real cautious about the yellow. I try to always include red when I'm working with yellow or orange, red, orange, whatever just keeps it from being overly yellow. My earlier pictures have super boosted yellows in them. Here we go. All right. I think that'll do for now. And then I forgot all about my cliff here. So this is put on nice and heavy. So that's a real good distinction. Let's go to a little more yellow, probably a little yellow on some of these. I think that I've got kind of a lot of the reds and blacks that's going to go kind of purple. So I'm putting yellow wherever I have my more orange colors. Now when I come in here with my white, I've already got my highlights ready. So I'm just going to get a little corner of this white. And then I'll go up here and shoop. I'll go over it a few times so that we have not a white highlight, but a colored highlight. But this is just a technique I've used over and over where I've already got the color on the canvas. It just needs lightened. And so then it's fun to be able to just go to it with the white and get that color. that I'm looking for. So this looks a little more red than I want it to, so I'm gonna add a bit of orange, get these highlights. Here we go. Okay, so now we're putting rocks that are getting hit by the sun as they come up on the slope. Bigger shapes immediately gives the look of closer object. So you can see my broad brush strokes compared, here I used a light touch, broke things apart. Here I'm making large shapes more visible so that I have perspective. And that combined with the high contrast is really going to help me. Let me get a good look here. So now I think that we might have another slope in here. Maybe we have some greens. Let's just throw some greens in there and see what it looks like. So I'm going to use black and yellow for greens. That's right here. And so I'm going to come up to my picture and make a little valley in here. Just using the black, and then I'm going to come in here with the yellow after that. We're going to go yellow and just start putting splotches of green just by letting it mix. In the same way I did the rocks, I'm going to just have greener areas in here. Like this. Like this. Let's go up here. There, that's kind of fun. We've got like a little valley in here. Now I got to use some red where I want this to go distant because I need that look of atmosphere. And if I just add white, it's going to be too bright of a color. So watch this little dab of red right in here. And then when I mix that with some white and the green that's already there, this is the way I'm going to create my more distant hills. I need the black, the yellow, I need all those colors in there. So I'm grabbing a little extra black. Maybe for these distant shadowed slopes, I want to see in here, I'll be a little bit heavier on the black. There we go, bring that right in there. So the red has an important role. I'm using the red where I would have used a purple or a magenta. I love that shirt. Valerie gave me a nice shirt. It says, "Purple is reverb." I should have worn that. I love adding purple to so many colors to get the look of ambient reflecting light. Okay, so now I've got my black and yellow. I think I'd like to see a little bit more paint on there before I tackle it with some details. So maybe I'll do another go with the black and yellow like this. Look at the green, how it just immediately has the soft earthy look. It's a great shortcut to doing greens. So now when I come in here with my white, I've got just the corner covered with white, and I'm going to just hit my yellowest areas, the tops of my greenest areas. And wherever I see darker, grayer shadows, I'm not going to focus on those with this technique because I want to take advantage. And this is how you can paint real fast and efficient, is just taking advantage of the contrast that's already there that just happens by accident. A lot of things happen by accident that are not taken advantage of. So if you can figure out how to use all those things that just happen, then you can get this real nice look. So I'm going to just go across this. Now what I'm doing is just getting the brush a little less perfect. So it's got these kind of soft. Uh-oh, we just lost our monitor. You might be able to fix that. Thanks, babe. Thanks for doing that. That's my bad rigging. We were hurrying up to try to really get this all set up. I was like, "Hey guys, come help me do a live stream." I roped in Christy and Brian here, and they're like, "Yeah, sure, we'll come help." And then I had things a solid 75% ready when they arrived.
Just too aggressive on the brush strokes.
Yeah, it's getting all crazy. So what I'm doing is I'm just tapping the lower portions of all my white areas, or now they're more of a light faded green. So you see all of my intense green goes away because that was my target with the white. And what's left behind are these nice shadows.
Lollipop Strawberry asks, what colors are you using?
I'm working just from primaries down here, so I'll go down to my tray. Nothing but these colors, red, orange, yellow, black, white. And right now, at the moment, I'm using black and yellow to do these greens. So in here, I use just black and yellow to create the greens. And then I'm just coming over it with a little touch of white where my greenest areas are to get those highlights. So then this is a fun thing to do. Once you get a nice dark, what do I call it? Just start. We'll just say it to start at this hill. And I'm going to go a little heavier on the black because this is going to be the shadowed side. This sets me up really well to do some pretty highlights with a lot heavier on the yellow and white in my mix. And not as much of the black, because using straight black and yellow, you can get this real nice dark green like you're seeing. And so when I come in here to do, I'll highlight the top edges of these greens. You'll see in a moment here. So where I have those greener areas, once again, I'm going to take white and just where I see the green. That's all it is. I didn't make a big plan for this. It's just a strategy to take advantage of what's already going on. So first thing I do is apply. I haven't manipulated the paint or distributed it. So I'm not really painting trees. I'm just putting white paint on yellow splotches. And then, when I use this technique, because trees are coming out of a foresty shadow, I can create gradients just by attacking the lower parts of each one of these little white blobs. And I'm going to keep my brush in that color zone. If I go right on the white, I might get too much white in my brush. Technique might not work as well. There's no big deal. I'll just wipe it off and do it again. But see how I just stay in that same area so that I can just quickly bump from one spot to the next and get these little Bob Ross trees, happy little trees that you get with just a dab. But I wasn't as good as Bob Ross. I couldn't do it just with one go with the right color. I had to set up my light and shadow and mid-tone by first mixing those, then putting the white on me.
Joe Jane is asking if you ever use something called Floratrol.
Oh, Floratrol, yeah.
Floor.
Well, yeah.
Floratrol.
That's a familiar
Do you
word.
advise using something like that to help keep the paint from drying?
I advise trying it. I think trying things is great, and just see if you like it. I tried it. It didn't do any harm. Something that I found was it seemed like it altered the way the paint covers. Felt a little bit altered. Like maybe I was putting too much of it. And then if I just did a tiny bit, I didn't experience enough difference in the dry time. So the purpose of Floetrol, for anybody wondering, is it's a paint extender. It makes the paint have a more better viscosity, a thinner viscosity, makes it dry smoother. Also increases your open time so that it doesn't dry as fast on you. So it's a real common tool when painters are trying to do real smooth door jambs, windows, detail trim where they don't want a lot of brush strokes showing, but it also lets the paint stay wet for longer. And so it's used to increase open time. So it's worth trying. I ended up just deciding that the best thing for me was to just get faster. Okay, now this is the part that I think is really fun. I'm just going to take yellow and go right on the top of this, just pure yellow. I'll just bright yellow right across this ridge. And since these are nice dark colors, I'm hoping that I get a good effect here with this pure yellow so that I can have my greens all lit up by the evening sun here. And then I'm going to take just a little bit of orange and black because that yellow is a little intense for me. So I'm going to pull it down with a little bit of orange so it's more like the rest of the environment I'm trying to set up here. Like this. Okay, we got some orange. I'm just scribbling with the corner of the brush. You can see I just barely put the corner on there. And then we'll put a little bit of black, if we still have some black available right there. And this will give me some shadows that are up in here, but I'm making sure that I don't do too much because I need this to stay nice and bright. So we'll go like this. All right, there we go. There. Now I'm just going to dab these until the value of those blacks matches the rest. You know, I don't want these to be darker than the rest. I just had to put it on first, and now I'm getting it where I want it to be. So now look, all I'm doing is just touching it a few times to blend it in, and I have this real nice bright highlight on these trees. It just takes the tiniest touch of the black to turn this yellow green to a real nice glowing, vibrant green for these trees or bushes. It might be like a juniper forest if it were here in Arizona. So here's something fun. I can just, if I have my if I have these colors in here, right now are they wet still? Yeah. So I'm going to put some more just so that I have some wet paint. I'm going to put more black and yellow because I want to add in some dirt and rocks in the scene. So same technique. You know, when you have your technique down, an advantage of doing things, you know, with more, not as much feeling my way through where to put bushes, but just having this repetitive robotic method. One advantage to this is being able to touch up. I just do the exact same method as many times as I want over the old spots, and I get the same look all over again. So I'm really big on rehearsal. Mostly what we did during the workshop that we had a few weeks ago was practice board stuff, you know, because that's what has helped me the most in painting it is just repetitive practice. But knowing what to practice is something that's really helpful. That's where I think there's a lot of discouragement, is that there's not, you know, it's hard to find good direction on exactly what to practice when you want to build a skill. So that's the angle I try to always approach from, is here's a method we're going to practice and really master, because I know that it's been helpful serving me in my work. Okay, so there's some orange spots. All I did was add orange to the green. Now I'm taking pure white and down on the lower parts of it, putting that pure white, and then I'm going to blend it. I don't want to see pure white in there. I want to see a faded, distant color of dirt. So orange, green, black, white, that's a great mix for dirt. See, we're just going to put this in here. We got patches of red dirt, like Arizona, like Georgia, Oklahoma, lots of places, Utah. Jacob out there, he's done some pretty cool work with these colors. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit more of that, maybe just a few little touches of that color up in here. Just little touches, you know. This isn't a big detail piece, but I'm just trying to get the perspective of smaller shapes as it goes further. And I don't want these to be too light. I gotta make sure that it stays dark enough. So where it gets down here in the valley, I'm gonna keep it dark enough that I got plenty of room for highlights. Okay, that's pretty fun. And you know, I think I could kind of merge these things together. This mountain right here, this could blend into those colors. I think that would be really cool. So what do we have here? We have black and white. So we'll go black and we'll go white. So I think this is where a lot of people who feel really uneasy. Boy, we got the garbage truck out there taking out the trash. It's like thumping the whole floor. Okay, now I'm going to get a little bit of red, and I'm just rebuilding the same base that I started with. That's all I'm doing. Just putting the same colors on here that I started with, just so I could take some black and yellow like I did here and bring those fill colors right up onto that. And wherever I do the black and yellow, I need to also do white. I don't want it to get dark. Okay, there's my greens up. We're a little bit light on the black. See that it's very yellow. So let's get a little more black. Great. I'm just going to bring it right up on here. Like this. We'll merge these objects together. We got our mountain coming down and meeting the slope of this hill. See how much better that looks? I like the way the colors create the gradual transition there. And how our greens go right up in there. Let's put a little bit more black, a little bit more so that I can get that hill to look like it goes right up onto that mountain. My colors don't match perfect, but it just kind of makes the picture even more interesting. Then I'm going to grab more of my orange and white. So just down here, I'll mix it orange and white. And that's going to mix with these wet colors that are on there. And I'll just put little bits. I don't want a real intense light orange here. It's not going to be because it's going to mix with these. I'll just put little bits of this so that it's not just my hard edges. You know, I just stopped. I didn't blend it up onto that mountain. So we'll just grab our light colors and bring those distant rocks right down here. There we go. Small shapes, you know, as long as all of the little corners and lines, whatever I'm painting, as long as they don't create large, simple shapes, then I'll maintain my look of distance. When you have all of that grainy complexity, it's easy to interpret as distance because everything is far and small. But it's when you get overly simplified giant brushstrokes in your background that you can start to lose that feeling of distance in comparison to your foreground. Doesn't mean you automatically will every time. Just that's a pattern I've noticed. So sometimes, you know, when you're struggling with that look of depth that you're after, you may just need to be separating the scale difference. You know, using tiny brush strokes back here. It doesn't matter if they are accurate brush strokes. Just keeping the scale believable can be really helpful. Okay, so now look, I've got this real purple edge on that. You know what I think would be cool is if I just took the colors I'm in right now, mixed them. Not that there's that many colors. Been in the same colors the whole painting long, really. I'm going to get this shadow color a lot grayer, less red. Yeah, there we go. Because I think it'll look good to just put some shadows in here. Just shapes wherever. This is going to dry a little bit darker. We'll go a touch darker still. But I was just looking at that edge while I was up there painting that mountain, thinking, you know what would really pop this out, help it, is if I had a more sky colored. That's what this is. This is a sky colored edge on that distant mountain. There we go. And I'll even take a little bit of white in here. Not so much of the red anymore because this is just getting the soft highlights of the sky. We'll create little details on the mountain. Just with the touch of white in that color, just so that I get some interesting shape on the mountain. Now I'm just going to break apart I had some big, simple brush strokes. All I'm doing is going in and hitting them so that they become small and grainy, just so that this can still look like my distant hills. Let's put a nice big shadow right there. That'll be fun. Let's put a brighter highlight right in here. This looks like a good spot to maybe put a little rock just poking out of the shadow there. Just a couple. There we are. That structure is getting more interesting as I mess with it. I'll stop there so I can add some more stuff to this picture. So now I think what would be fun is if I had like, maybe we have, let's put some trees. I'm going to put a red tree. So pure red right here, just pure red. And then I'm going to highlight it with orange toward the sun. So these are going to be areas with the leaves, extending up into the light. So we'll shift it toward orange for that real translucent look. And here, let's put a little bit more of that. And you can guess what I'm going to do with these colored patches. This is kind of my workflow. And then shadow, lower right side, like that. There we go. Now we got a pretty fall tree. Let's do another one. That was pretty fun. I'm going to put one right here. Coming up here. This one's going to be like maybe more maple shaped, little bit more pointy on the top. We'll do the bright orange on the left side. And then we'll do the shadow on the right side. I can just come in with shadow later, but I'm just having fun building as I go. If I had a vision for everywhere I was going to put trees, then I might do more at a time, but I don't. I'm just having some fun. Okay, now's the part where I break it apart into little shapes. So let's just go like this. Let's take the color, and with just the corner of my brush, I'm just scribbling and bringing it down to the middle. And I'm looking for my big shapes. Big shapes meaning brush strokes that really stand out to me. And I'm just hitting those edges first. I'm prioritizing those so that I can get rid of my large non-tree-like shapes very quickly. It's more efficient to target your brush strokes than to try to think through the shapes of an actual tree. Okay, now I'm going to go to, well, let's do yellow. I was going to do white. Now I'm going to rinse my brush because I'm about to go to yellow. I changed my mind. Let's try white first. We'll do yellow if we need it. Let's go white. And so I'm just going to get a little bit on the corner of the brush here and go to my brightest, orangest spots. Just like I did with the trees, just like I did with the rocks. I go to my bright colored areas because, I shift the color and light and all in the same, what am I trying to say? They go together. Yeah, I think I would like to see yellow. So here's a little bit of yellow. I'm gonna put in there. And now I'm just hitting my brightest areas and these highlights on this tree. So I'm just making little clumps of this tree like fingers sticking out of the colorful shadow. And I'm going to keep hitting this white until it's nice and colorful and just a little bit lighter than my colors, not a lot. I have to watch out. You can, as a painter, you can fall in love with that bright highlight effect and forget about color balance. And you can lose the beauty of the intense colors by overdoing the white. So a little bit is all I want to do to get nice red trees. Okay, so I've got that. Now I'm going to just take the colors that are already there and break apart the shapes. Wherever I see a deep spot, see this deep spot right here? I'm going to put black. My darker color, it's not black, it's the red mixed with the orange and black right in there. And it's just going to enhance what's already there. So I'm looking for the shapes that are already there, looking for shadows. Like that. There we are. All right, let's do a different color. So we get that translucent look by not going too dark on the shadows and keep a nice intense color that shifts toward the yellow as it goes into that highlight. You get that translucent look of leaves lit up by the evening sun. Then let's do maybe some yellow in here. So I want some yellow trees. Let's just get a glob of it this time. And we'll do some yellow here. Now it's going to hit the black and start trying to turn green. That's not too big of a problem. My paint's wet. I'm working fast. Yellow likes to turn green. The reason it's not too big of a problem is because trees have green in them. So it's not going to look terrible if I have some green to my trees that are yellow. But I can also just add the red. That's all that needs to happen if I want to undo that. So now I'm just making a row of yellow trees going up here. There we go. Now you can add a pretty good amount of white to yellow maybe because they're both so light already. And look how this makes I need to shift the shadow toward red. The colors of these trees are doing it for me. That's a happy accident. There we go. I had one, folks. I had a happy accident. My shadow color was made by the still wet reds of the trees I just painted. Okay, we're gonna go in here and just bring that color right in here. And I'm imagining these trees casting a little bit of a shadow, so I'm being generous with the red on this side. Right here. Now I'll take next, I'll put more yellow. How about more yellow? Let's get some nice bright colors in here. Oh yeah, I like those bright colors. You got to stay dark in your painting enough to make these count when they hit the canvas. Okay, I'm not even going to do the shadowed side because I have all of that in there. All I'll do is grab a bit of white and just go to my yellowest areas only. Yellow area. It's okay if it goes into other areas. I'm just saying this is the strategy. Okay, we're just putting some white in here for a highlight. I'm curious how we're doing on time. How long
It
have we
is
been on?
2:08.
Two.
Just under an hour.
Okay.
Hey, and Kingman's Finest asks, do you remember the mural you did in Mojave Valley, Arizona at the River Valley High School?
Oh yeah.
I even remember that one.
Yeah. The video's on YouTube. Yeah, totally. That was a good time. I really enjoyed it. I got to hang out with some of the students there. The teachers were super nice. That was a fun job. I got to be on a scissor lift and risk my life on a tilted sidewalk next to a tall wall. Man, that gave me the shakes. That was a scary one. Yeah, one of the very few projects I've done trying to have a graffiti-like style. And then I came back and did another one of a swirling dust devil mascot. That was pretty fun. Okay, so all I did here was add barely enough white to get my bright highlight. But I like how these are darker down here. You put highlights everywhere, they're not highlights anymore. So I like the way that looks darker there. It gives me some depth. So I'm just going to leave that. Maybe I'll use yellow to highlight that instead of the white. We'll go down here to keep the colors darker and richer, but to still have some definition there. Like that. There we go. And then I'll do another. Here, let's do like a dirty colored one. Here, let's go brown, dirty colored. Well, that was a weird way to say that. Next to all these pure colors, I'm going to put orange and black. Maybe this is an old oak or something that just doesn't get as much of the brilliant color. It still gets some color, but just not as much. I'm going to put that in there, and we'll just make a little portion of it poking up through these leaves right here, like this. Okay, now I'll get white. And well, here, let's get just a touch more orange first. That black went far. There we go. Get the bright colors on the left side. There we are. And then I'll take white and just put it on my brightest areas. And then I'm going to use little dabs to gradually bring that brightest color down toward the lower middle of the tree to get that gradient. Here we are. That I think that needs a bit of yellow. Get a touch more of the golden color on this one. All I'm doing, I'm not really trying so hard to paint a tree. I'm following a very specific method of the direction of these gradients, the way they go to get a three-dimensional shape with a specific texture. Here we go. Then it ends up being a tree, because those are the patterns that I observed in trees, and that's the method I always use. Like, okay, where are the patterns? What's the pattern I can use to recreate? That's how I paint everything. Okay, we're going to put that there. Okay, I'm starting to like this painting. Starting to look like something we might see. Okay, we're going to put some Let's put some more colors in there. Let's put purple. Purple, yeah. I think that'll be fun. Let's put a tree right in here that is blue and red. For those of you that are that are just tuning in or that weren't here when I talked about using black as blue, that's the only reason I said that. Just to be funny and say, this is my purple because blue is replaced by black in this painting, just as a fun experiment. And it truly is an experiment because I have never done this. I have officially never done this. So it was a little bit of a risk, but I thought, hey, people love seeing my what do you call it? My untrained mistakes, my unrehearsed. You know, if I do make mistakes here, I think it's appreciated. So I'm going to be transparent. Okay. Now, I don't know if my gray in the sky is starting to feel more blue. To me, it does when I'm looking at all this intensity. This is starting to feel more like an evening blue sky with just the compressed colors. But I don't know. I'll let you be the judge. I can't tell you. I don't want to tell you what the truth is of my experiment. I want you to judge for yourself. Go like this. Just all I'm doing is just hitting the big shapes, making them smaller, causing my light colors to create a gradient down into the shadow. I'm going to put more black and white so that hopefully I get a slightly more purple color because there we go. Remember, the black, white, and red is how I get the most purple color available with this palette. That's all that is, black, white, and red, and whatever colors are left in my brush. So I'm going through all these areas where I have shadows already and just hitting them with this. Oh, I like the look of that. That has a real contrasty kind of a glow to it. It's nice.
Someone said this reminds them of the sand dunes painting.
Oh,
you
really?
painted.
Oh, I did do a sand dunes painting.
The colors remind.
Okay, cool. Yeah, that also was a really limited color palette. Okay, thanks for bringing that up. Yeah. Now there, I don't know if I really thought through this process like I am here, but you know, perhaps I've done this without knowing it. Just limiting the color palette in order to make it lean one way and just have that color graded look altogether. All I'm doing is making gradients. Wherever I have the light patches, I bring them down toward the middle of the tree, toward the lower middle of the tree. And that gives me that look of clumps of leaves coming up out of the shadows. That's the way that's my method for accomplishing that particular look. And it's just a tiny touch with the corner of the brush. Down. All right, cool. Now this seems like a great place for some water, doesn't it? What if we just went like this? What if we just made all these colors more shadowed, more gray, put some water under it? I think that would be a good look.
About the colors, the vivid colors.
Yeah.
Can you do a grayish wash over the whole thing to tone it down some?
Oh, absolutely, you could. Now the risk of doing washes I found is that, especially with fast drying paint, I think it's a little safer to do them with oils. But with the fast drying paint, it can get unsmooth real quick because it starts to dry and then it pulls and you have thicker and thinner spots. That's a problem I've run into. But I have done washes. I did a wash on the sky. It's okay if you show some of my studio there, Brian. Look at the clouds on that jumping whale painting. Here, I'll just step over here and show you this one. I had to adjust the colors on this one to get those rays, to get this sky. I actually did a wash on this to adjust those colors. So it is something that I practice just when I need to. I wasn't happy that I had to do that. You know, I wasn't too happy about that, but it was the best option because I did not want to repaint that thing. Spent all this time on all the little ways. That video is going to be posted soon, by the way. of that paint. I've got a good video of the process. I made a good waves lesson out of it. So all I'm doing is pulling these colors down right here, and then I'm going to put black and white, or should I say blue and white? Okay, and then we're going to make, oh, I need more black because I want shadows in here, dark colors. There we go. And then just small enough shapes that it doesn't break the pattern so extremely that your eye looks at it and says, "What in the heck is that?" You know, I gotta make the scale consistent with what I'm seeing here. Oh, this is kind of fun. You know, sometimes the leaves that are less exposed to the weather turn colored last. I've noticed that, and so I'm going to end up with some greener leaves down here in the shadows. I think that'll be a good look for this picture. Here we go. Let's get yellow in here. See, this kind of turns more greenish when it hits those dark colors. Like that. Yeah, I like these shadows. You know, gradients are probably the most, I say that about a lot of stuff. I'm so full of baloney. So I was about to say probably the most valuable thing I've learned. I'd probably say that about everything I like, but I'll just say it's been tremendously valuable to me to see how abundant gradients are in three-dimensional environments and how using them creates depth. I just use a gradient that's believable. It goes from a believable light color to a believable shadow color, and then all of a sudden imagination fills it all in like it's some great thing. And I just did this mechanical process of blending the colors. And, you know, it feels like such a nice little cheat. There we go. Yeah, I'm starting to like the look of that. Those grays mixed with those, it's starting to feel a bit like a forest floor. And so I think what I'll do is just a tiny bit more enhancement on dark spots, just a few. Just get a few more dark areas in here. Some red, some yellow, slightly green color. And then I'll put a few tree trunks in there. I'm just scribbling in shadows where I know it'll, you know, kind of have a deep look to it. So now I'll take my black and white. So watch, I'll just mix it down here. I'll just take black and white. I'm running out of room on my canvas is why I'm doing this. So we'll just go like this. Let's see if this is right. You know, we have to go nice and dark because this is a dark part of the picture. Let's see if that's enough to be just slightly lighter than the rest up here. There we go. Let's put some tree trunks in here. Yeah, there. That's the look I'm after.
Oh, I thought they were bushes this whole time. Now
Well,
they're all of a sudden trees.
yeah, that's a good thing you bring up. You know, the scale, the perceived scale. It is a matter of like perception. What there's different clues in a picture, but it's not an exact science. You know, sometimes I'll be wanting trees and get bushes, or I'll be wanting bushes and get trees. That does happen quite a bit. There we go. Okay. Just wanted a few tree trunks in there so that I have a bank. Now this bank is going to have some colored leaves on it. So we'll go orange and black. We'll do some yellow and some red. I'm just throwing all the colors on here. I just want it to look like it's just a bank. And wherever I see more color, I'm going to bring this out to the edge so I can paint to the bottom of the canvas. Wherever I see more color, those will probably be the best areas. And I'm saying probably because I'm not 100% convinced on this. But my default is to go after the more colorful areas with my highlights, just like I've been doing. So white, just to get some highlights on the ground. I'm not going to leave it white. We can't have white down here. We want to have some deep colors because this is kind of down in the more shadowy areas, I just want a little bit of brightening where I have my color already, just a little. So I go over the white, enough just to brighten it up. There we are. And I don't want just such a perfectly straight edge on this tree line either, so I'll probably add a few things in here. Let's put a green tree. Let's do this. This one's stubborn, it doesn't want to turn. This tree here, it's staying green. It's down here in the shadow. You know, it's down by the water. It stays a little bit warmer than the leaves that are way up high. So we're gonna make this one green. And we'll leave that darker color. Or maybe this is more like a bush. Its real purpose, this bush doesn't know it, but its real purpose is just to make the edge of the forest not so straight. There, oh, I can't make the shadow go that way. That's kind of an error because I got light coming this way. I'm gonna change that. Bring that color this way. There we go. I'll just kind of pull that and break it apart. There we go. Now I'll take some white, but it's not going to stay white. It's just lightening these colors just enough to create some interest, some shapes, break them apart. Also a lot less green than I did that. You can barely even see that bush, but that's kind of a nice effect. Enhances the shadowy look of it. I want to put more of my color across here, like little yellow leaves right in here, look. Just popping out into the sun. But these have to be tiny little shapes. I don't want big shapes. Right across these darker areas because it kind of breaks up that tree line like they're not manicured. There we go. Put some red. Put some red in here right across these darkest spots. Just to look like some brighter leaves popping out into the light. Like that. Here we are. Now let's put some water. We'll go like this. We'll put black and white in here because I've got a black and white sky. And when I do water, I usually just start with the sky. So we're going to go like this. Now, which direction is this flowing? I'm going to say away from the mountain. So toward me is the direction of flow. And so I'm just going to make slightly curved brush strokes down toward the middle. Just slightly, a little bit goes a long way when you're dealing with perspective. So I'll just ever so slightly angle my brush strokes down toward the middle from both sides of this. The left side maybe will go off the picture. Yeah, I'll go off a little. Maybe I'll put just a tiny bit of some leaves coming in, covering it up. Let's get more paint on there. Now, doing reflection is something that is very systematic, and it's a system you can trust that will deliver good results every time. So what I'm going to do is just get my sky color in here, and I'm going to make it a little darker than the source because reflection on something is not likely to be even brighter than the source that it came from. So making a gray that's a bit darker than the sky. Here it's going to kind of bend around here, like just meandering through some of this back country. I'll put it in behind these leaves, these little dots. Maybe this is a detail job for a little bit later in the painting, but I'm getting distracted by it at the moment. There we go. And then I'm going to put some reflection. So here I see my greens that I need to reflect. And so we'll go like this, black and yellow. And then we're just going to put our little lines going down. And that had a little bit, I've got oranges. My brush was kind of dirty. I'll make sure that I get enough other colors in there. It doesn't give me like a bright green reflection. I don't want it to be even more intense than the source, after all. Okay, we'll go like this. We'll go up a little higher because we've got some messy painting to cover right here. We'll go like that. There, we'll bring it all the way up there. Kind of changes the perspective of this picture. Look at that. Gives us a lot more of a downward angle on this little stream. Okay, as it gets closer, I'm going to angle these more and more downward so that I really have that look. And then I'll put some of these colors. See these in here? I'll get some of that orange and white. Orange right there, white right here. And I'm being very mindful of the angles. This is something I think that is under recognized, and that is the tremendous influence that the angles of your brushstrokes have on your perspective. So your perspective is very affected by the angles of these strokes. So I'm going down from the edges just slightly to create the look of water that's flowing toward me. But I want to be very consistent with those, just very, I don't want oddball brushstrokes going different directions or making them feel random. Water isn't random, it doesn't have a random feel. I'm going to take these as it goes higher up here. Let's get a little more. I like the look of that bright highlight in there. Even if it wasn't in the sky, I don't care. It's just a pretty color to have on top of that gray. Go right there. So do you see how I just put, coming down from the left side, they slope this way just a tiny bit. Then we go over here, and if it looks like it's too much, I'll just make it less. As I go up here, I'm just going to put little tiny bits of it that are like whatever ripples are just big enough to catch a touch of reflection in there. Do that. Get this little meandering stream coming down through our desert fall. Now I'm going to take some of my bank and put it on here. Make this just mix right with those colors, but I'm thinking a little bit darker, not a little bit lighter. So let's get these colors and make this look like the water goes up onto the shore a little bit. We'll get a wet shore by bringing that up onto these colors and just pulling them into the water a little, like that. And just enough of that color. It's going to be a slightly different color, when you're going from dry land to water and you want it to look like a gradual embankment, you want to just change the color a tiny bit at that line. So I'm going to go here, a little bit of black. I'm going to get just a touch darker. I think darker is the ticket here. There we go. See that black? Right there, and it's okay if some spots are a little lighter. Yeah, because I like that shadowy look. That's nice. Right in there. Okay. Then we can maybe put, like this is a good color to put a distant rock right here. See this. Because it's not intense. That's why it's a good color. It's kind of gray. It has these reds and oranges in it. So I'm just going to take it like this. It's in the shadow. This is on the shadowed side. I'm going to put a little bit of orange, see what happens. Maybe red too. Add a touch more color to this, but I'm going to keep it dark. It's on the shadowed slope. So we don't want bright highlights. We want just dim highlights. There we go. Let's put just a touch of white in there. Whatever, it's just going to make light pop up wherever I put it. But it's, I'm making sure this mixes enough that it's not bright. I don't want a bright highlight. Now I want to see just a bit more of my black and yellow bushes coming down onto that because I've got kind of this overly straight line. That doesn't feel very natural to me. So we'll just kind of bring these colors down here. Maybe it's little bits of grass. Maybe it's the bushes. There we go. Yeah, just a little bit of a embankment there.
Actually missed what you said, but did you say water isn't random?
Yeah, I did say that. Yeah.
Just because someone's saying, huh?
Yeah, it's not random. And, if you just randomly put brush strokes everywhere, then you'll be lucky if you get a great look out of it. You can. It can be done, but that's for the lucky ones. It's the majority of painters that take a random approach to water come back frustrated. And that's because of the very consistent flow and the rules that it follows. But who am I to say what's going to happen? It's just what has been helpful for me to understand. Okay, let's put a little bit. That's why I sell so many videos on how to paint water, I think, because it's under, let's see, maybe under-researched, the patterns that happen in the flow of water and how you can use those in your artwork. Okay, so I got trees in there. I think it'd be cool to have just a little bit coming over this edge. So I'll put maybe dark colors because that's a shaded side. So let's start with some black and just go like this. And then I'll put some yellow, like maybe these are green leaves. Maybe that was a bit too much yellow. Yeah, there we go. Black and yellow for green. And then I'm going to put some color on these leaves as well, but I want to keep them nice and dark. They've got to stay real dark if I'm going to keep them in the foreground. So remember what I was saying about the size of the simple brushstroke shapes. By letting the size of my shapes be big, I can make the look of close leaves. Notice that I'm not touching these as many times as these. I break these apart more. And that combined with the color differences allows me to really pop those forward. Okay, now we're going to put some color. Some of these. Just a little bit, maybe some red and some orange. And I'm not even going to add white. I'm seeing that this color is enough because I want this to be in a shadow. I want it to be a shaded tree.
So there's no blue in here at all.
Nope.
The whole painting.
No blue. No blue. It's just using black as a blue, because black is indeed bluer than the other colors. So the difference is really what makes the difference.
That's deep.
Yeah. So, wow. I heard that ring in my head before I said it, and I was like, oh man, you're gonna lose your credibility here. Okay, I'm just fiddling around with where to put these leaves, but I'm keeping them nice and dark. Nice and dark. I want to see colors mixed with black for this closest foreground. I'm going to put a branch going down. So let's put maybe a little one right in here. Like this. Maybe one right here. I'm holding this with two hands because my hand is not especially steady. But bracing with one hand is a good method. I've seen airbrush artists use the same method. There we go. Just a few little branches coming across. Do this. Now maybe I'll grab some of these leaves and put them where the branches are. Okay, good. Now we're getting close to being done with this, and I know some people have sent in paintings, and so it'll be fun. One of the last things we'll do here is just take a look at what you all have been up to out there. So we're going to see if we can accomplish that. This is the first time we've done this This is the first time that we've done a show with everyone in the studio. So my brother's pretty busy. And my wife was gracious to come do this with me. So right here in the studio, we're going to open up the pictures on the computer, take a look at them. Here we go. I'm just putting the last touches on it close to you. I think the more I mess with that, the worse it gets. So it happens to me too. Let's put some dark shadows in here. Okay, cool. Now this just needs to be kind of finished up with something. What should we put in here? Let's do some red and black. Like this. I'm just putting some shadow on what already exists in this picture. And just by blending the colors, oh man, that made the whole painting look better. Just having that interest coming out of the corner. Just gonna make it dark and then make colors coming out of the shadow. That's all it needs. Like this. We'll put a little bit of yellow in there. We'll have some greens coming out of it down here. Like this. And everything that just looks unnatural, like a brush stroke instead of part of the painting, those are the areas that I'm going to hit first. So I'll take some white and get a little bit of highlight coming through here. And I'm going to mix this a lot so that it's not that much of a highlight. And just make all my shapes little so that it looks like it must be leaves. It's not a giant foreground shape. It's just going to be the whatever leaves are catching the light underneath this canopy. And I'm just grabbing the biggest shapes, breaking them apart. What are you chuckling about?
Daniel says, Joe is Michael Jordan of painting.
The Michael Jordan.
We miss you, Daniel. Yeah.
Yeah, buddy. Thank you for that very nice compliment. Thank you. Man, it is fun to watch someone like him, Michael Jordan. I remember just being blown away by his endless champion plays that he did. Must have been annoying to be on that team.
Okay, when you go to dump the brush in the water, I want to see you stick your tongue out.
Yeah. Nope. No, we won't be doing that. Thank you though for the high compliment. Really appreciate it. Makes me feel like I'm somebody. All right, this is cool. I'm just going to put a little bit of white. You know, I've got this ground in here, and I'm going to try to just bring that right up under here like this. Just fade it into that shadow. I've got just enough room to just bump it right up in there. And just pull it out here and make sure it's not too light. I'll add some red and black just to darken it. Like that. There we go. There. Boy, we have a fun Thanksgiving planned. This painting is getting me in the mood for the, festive things. So I'm thinking about getting together with family at Thanksgiving. We got a good one planned this year. Okay, I'm gonna put the rest of the tilting plates. I'm just trying to finish up the rest of the scene. We got this nice kind of brownish purple. I'm just gonna go black and white. Make it look more blue next to my orange highlights. Maybe just a touch of red. Like this. There we go. And then that'll give me a good spot to put just a couple more little highlights in there. Here we are. Okay, now I'll just bring these highlights over, but not all the way over, because highlights are everywhere. They're not highlights anymore. We're just going to put a bright spot here, right in here. Let's get our orange and just put these right up here. I make noises so much. I don't know why colors have noises to me, but they do. No, I think I'm just gonna leave it right there. I'm pretty happy with that. Look, here's an unfinished spot down here. Would be fun to kind of, maybe see a little kayak coming through or something. Let's put the bank down there. This was just a little unfinished spot I didn't address. Okay, I'm getting ready to pull off of this thing. Let's do this. It needs some sign of life. What should we do? Birds tend to be the easiest thing. That's why there's so many birds in paintings. You know, I don't think it's because everybody loves birds. I think it's because they're genuinely the easiest thing to add to a painting at the end. It's just a little M. You know, you just do the little up and down.
Well, they're always present too.
Yeah, they are. I do love watching birds. I love them. So I'm going to put one in, just to add a little bit of life to my painting. I'm not going to use pure black. I'm going to use this mix of black and white so that it has some distance. There we go. And then I'm going to go in here and do like a up with the skinny part, down with the wide part, and then up with the skinny part again, and then down with the wide part again. There we go. Now the bird's kind of going up in an angle. So let's finish off its wing. Give it a little tail. There we are. Let's put another one here. Like that, give it a little body. We can put a few. Yeah, that's all right. I think that's cool. What do you think? Another vine? Think we should do another? Maybe here. No, too many birds gets gross. Here, let's leave it. All right. I just said that for giggles. We'll leave it at that. Maybe I'll take some time later to tidy this up and make it something we can hang in the house. But we've got a show to finish up here. We've got to get to the rest of our day. We've got a 7-year-old at school that needs picked up. We got stuff that needs done here. So, hey, thanks everybody. Thanks a lot for watching. I want to see some of your work. How are we doing? Do we got anything that we can look at there?
We do. So this up first, if you're ready, if you want to put it up.
Yeah. I'll just kind of look this way at our little monitor, and you can share with me whatever you see.
You gotta push the button, right?
Oh, what? Yeah, sure. Let's go here to the screen. You got it?
Yep.
Ah, very good.
This is Jay Mitchell's attempt today.
Oh,
Along
wow.
with this.
Good
So we'll
job,
start
Jay.
with that one.
Thank you for reminding me. I'm like, oh, where's the picture? You gotta look at it. Oh, this is nice, Jay. Very cool. I like that. Wait a minute. I just now realized you've been following along.
Yes, I said
What?
so today.
Oh, man.
Impressive.
That's phenomenal. That is phenomenal. Following is harder than leading. When it comes to having criteria and getting instructions. I'm not having to follow any instructions. I'm thinking and then just doing. So fantastic work on that. All your colors are just popping right out. I bet doing the gradients is the hardest thing, because it's just following along. I'm very impressed by that, Jay. Thank you.
All right, and he has a special one at the very end we'll share.
Okay, cool.
All right, this
All right.
is from Kenneth. Hold on, I have to read what he says. I'm
Okay,
sorry,
no problem.
I'm sorry I'm a little behind.
No, it's no
You
big
have to
deal.
be patient with me.
Yeah, no, that was great. No, I've seen a lot of paintings, and when we're at workshops, everybody's doing paintings, following along, but you have lots of time. So when I see something that, like what Jay just did, following along in real time and actually having it resemble, I'm so impressed. Honestly, I'm not sure how well I would do that. If I was trying to follow your painting while you're going and I'm like looking and going, I really think that's a great thing to accomplish.
Cool. These next ones are from Kenneth Higgins, and he says, I needed to paint some clouds last summer in my classroom and school library. I wanted more of a storybook cloud, but I had no idea where to start. Took your cloud class. It was a huge help. These are, so this is what he ended up with.
Oh, nice.
Oh.
Here, let's
My
take a look at
students
it.
love the mural, so let's do one at a time. There's a, can you see that?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, super cool. I'm gonna see if I can just hold this monitor screen.
Okay.
Yeah, I can hold that here and look at it.
All right,
Oh,
there's
perfect.
a castle and a little storybook.
Oh,
notes.
wow. Nice. Nice work. Oh,
Storybook
I
notes.
wanted you to hide little mice all over.
Oh, look, there's
Dude, that's so cool. Look, good job. Good job with the clouds up behind that, coming up onto the vertical part of the wall. So, oh yeah, I see that the wall actually goes up and you got a blimp there and everything. Man, that's a neck breaker right there. Nice job keeping your cloud shadow colors dialed in to that nice light gray, violet, blue, whatever you want to call that color. Nice job with that. Very cool.
all right.
This is good.
Sorry.
Oh man, I have a cloud project that I need to do. Um, I was recently, clouds are an ongoing research project for me. And so I was realizing, looking back at old paintings just recently, man, I still don't have them figured out. There's things that I would love to do better with clouds. So I'm going to be releasing some more videos in the future. I just threw these together on this painting, because I was like, I don't want to deal with all of my most recent obsessions with things that I want to be better about clouds. But man, they are ongoing, challenging subjects. So we're buddies. You and me are friends if you're also interested in that pursuit of trying to make those constantly better. There's just something about them that mesmerize me. Okay, what else?
Okay,
do we
this
got?
is from Christina.
Okay. Let's
She's
check
a few
this one.
pictures.
Oh, wrong camera. Okay, sweet.
She has a few pictures, so we'll go through them so you can see what's happening. Oh,
Oh, wow, that's
interesting.
pretty cool. I like that. That is so neat. You actually built the three-dimensional skull shape out of the landscape. Wow, that's super cool.
Close one.
Yeah, nice work. Good job with the colors too. Oh, that's nice. Wow. That's cool. Little cast shadow on that guy. Looks like it's popping right off the wall. Call me.
There you
All
go.
right. Wow, that is something I don't see myself ever painting. Such creative things that I don't think I'll ever do. I'm such a tool finder. I love making the tools to build things. I do a picture like this. I'm like, yeah, we want to put a tree in.
No, Christian, not Christina. I'm sorry. That was from
Oh,
Christian.
Sorry about
My
that,
reading
Christian.
is bad.
No problem. We mispronounce names all day long.
Okay. I'm new at this.
That's part of the sport.
Give me some grace. Okay.
No, it's good. So, yeah, I love finding the how-to. I love finding how it's done, doing things like this. But then such creative things are done. My dream is that the tools are just used in artwork that's done a lot better than I'll ever do. I just don't have the focus and the stamina to have a vision for a great masterpiece and execute. It's only if I get to research like how to accomplish something, uncover a pattern. That's really what I love is just trying to find the patterns and things.
Okay, the next one is from Howie Days.
Let's check it out.
That's something.
Oh, nice depth. Oh man, that just pops right off of the canvas. That's the first thing I see in that one. It just jumps forward. Excellent example of the super high contrast popping forward off of the low contrast of a distant atmosphere and gradients. The gradients have depth. The gradients on the turtle itself give it a three-dimensional form. The gradients of the atmosphere cause that atmosphere to go way back. It's done really well.
Okay, there's another one.
Ooh, same artist
Mm-hmm.
we're looking at? Wow, nice work. Very cool heron. I think it's a heron. I am not an expert on animals. Forgive me if that's not the right. Wow, great. I really like the way you really dialed in that perspective. Perspective is hard. It's hard not to distort the creature and get crooked looking things. You really have done that well.
Okay, and there's one more porpoise.
Oh, coming down off the surface. Nice touch. Going up and reflecting off of the surface. Yeah, something that I love talking about is how reflective the ceiling of the water is. When you're underwater and you're looking up, it's that it's that ceiling that is the most reflective. Maybe on some long, boring podcast, we'll get into more theories about it.
And that's the
Nice.
last one. Oh, sorry.
Oh, that was cool. That was a good one to see right there. Yeah. No, you got it.
I'll figure this out.
Yeah.
Ah!
It's fine. We're going through our emails here, so.
Yeah.
This is great. Oh, cool. Yeah, man, I could just feel the salty mist hitting me when I look at that picture.
Mhm.
That's good job capturing that. And birds. I see the M's. I see the same thing I just painted. That's it. That's how you do it. Yeah. All right. Nice work. Good. Yeah. What do you think? Is there more to look at there?
Yes,
Okay.
give me a
there's
couple
more.
ones.
Yeah. We're gonna look at more. So, I'm curious if on those birds, if the technique goes the same. I always wonder.
Okay, the next one's up. Are you ready or no?
Okay. Yeah. We're gonna look.
Sorry, just-
No, I was getting obsessed with my painting right now. I was gonna adjust them. Boy, it really does look blue on this monitor screen. Okay. Ooh, that's cool. I don't know the meaning of what I'm looking at, but it's very interesting.
I could read the email.
Nice.
Detached
Like
painting is a
red.
tribute to a young woman, Masa, who toured and was murdered by the Islamic Republic in Iran for not covering her hair properly. As a result, an uprising has begun in Iran. I think you've seen that in the news.
Oh, yeah. I've
Masha
heard
Lights
that
the
story.
Way is what it's called.
Man, that is sobering. That really makes me think about how easy my life is.
Mm.
Good job. Good job celebrating the life that she lived. Man, what a difference maker. And good job with the reds. Good job with bringing the red, keeping it intense as it comes into the light. That's a hard thing to do with reds. Just like you saw me trying not to add too much white on the red tree, I'm sure you dealt with the same thing. So good job maintaining the intensity as you brighten it up with the light.
Yeah.
Very cool.
Okay,
Nice
I
work.
believe there's two more.
Okay, yeah, let's see them.
This is from
Oh, whoops,
Peggy
wrong one.
Peggy Sterling, and it's
Okay.
I think it's up there. Yes.
Let's check it out. Okay, cool. Nice bright colors, good reflections. All right, I'm curious if you did those greens with yellow and black. It looks like you could have. Looks like you could have done them the same way. Very good. Thank you for sharing this picture. I like your consistent brush strokes on your water. Gives it a very glassy look. And, whenever you get X's or different direction strokes, so nice job staying real smooth with your brush strokes. Thanks for sharing that. That's cool.
We have one last one.
Okay. Let's go to another. I'm going to put just a little bit more on mine.
Okay. Ready when you are.
Okay. I saw this little part of this painting. I was like, I want this little bit of sky. A little bit darker. And let's go back to the paintings. Oh, look at that. Who is that ugly dude? Oh, man.
By Jay Mitchell. The one, the
nice
only.
work, Jay. Oh, man. That's perfect. Okay, I love the way you captured my somewhat close together eyes. Very good. My eyes are not especially far apart. I've noticed that. You even have my nose tilting to the right, just like it does. That's exactly right. My nose. Here, look, you can even look at this. Look, I'm going to show everybody mine. I love how you got no mercy here. Good job. Yeah, my nose, it kind of goes to the right. Everybody's got it. I shouldn't say everybody, but most people have a somewhat asymmetrical face. So
You know what? Oh.
you got my nose.
Oh, I see.
That's pretty funny. Look, he's got it right there. That's pretty good. Man. Yep, that looks, and you did this fast too. Jay's like a painting a day kind of a guy. He like whips these things out fast. So we're looking at some speedy work where he captured that lightness. Good job. I got a video. I should post that video from the workshop of the how to paint a face.
You're on the wrong camera.
Oh, I am. My bad. Oh, there we go. Oh, we're getting used to these things here. Okay, is that what we've got today?
Yeah, I think I got it.
Okay. All right. Well, I want to thank everybody as I'm doing my last bit of little obsessed touches to these The experiment today was, can I make it look like a blue sky with colored clouds, but just under the influence of a heavy color grade? And so, yeah, I feel like it works. I like the method. If I was gonna go further with this, I'd really pre-mix my colors, I'd dial it in, but this was a fun experiment. I really appreciate you guys doing this with me, joining in. And so we're gonna do these live streams regularly again. Winter's here, it's fun to hang out, and I appreciate you watching. So look for a reminder next week. I'm gonna put out the newsletter, and we're gonna do another live stream next week. I've got other news that's coming, so get on the mailing list, and I'll keep you informed about recent new things that the Mural Joe name will be offering. So it's going to be a lot of fun. I think I've said enough. I want to thank you all for your time. So we'll see you next time.